Dear students, I welcome you all in this video lesson in which we will be discussing the unit number 1, that is computational thinking and programming. This unit contains various parts and it will be of 40 marks in the board examination. So it is a very important unit that completely deals with the Python programming, and it has all the advanced concepts of Python, the basic concepts that you have read in class 11th. It will be the advanced concepts of Python. So this unit has first part as revision of basics of Python covered in class 11th. The second part we will be discussing functions and recursion. In the third part we will be dealing with file handling, that will include text file, binary file and CSV file, that is comma separated value. In the fourth part, Python libraries and how to use them in your program, the concept will be discussed. In part 5th we will be discussing the data structures, that will include list, that has been covered in class 11th, and stack and queue. These are the two data structures that will be implemented using list. And in the last part, that is a theoretical part consisting of idea of efficiency, this will be discussed. So for revision of basics of Python covered in class 11th, you can visit the playlist of class 11th topics. All the programming topics are discussed, and we will have a separate session on some basic concepts that are mainly asked, like error find out and outputs, that we will be dealing with in a separate video. For now we will be starting our lesson with functions, and after that we will be discussing recursion. So the part 2 we will be starting with, and as you have studied in class 11, so this part 1 you can just give it a revision by yourself, and if you face any difficulty you can go through the topics covered in the separate playlist of class 11th in this channel. And we will be starting with functions. Okay, so the functions you can say are the backbone of any programming language, and if you are going to develop a project, then these functions will be the most helpful for you. So the functions can be called as the foundation stone or the backbone of a programming language. That's why we are starting with this functions, and after functions you can develop any project you want. So because all those projects that you will be working on this year and in future when you opt computer science stream in your higher studies, you will be using functions as the building stone of your projects. So let's get started with this function topic. So this entire chapter of working with functions can be divided into these 15 subpoints that have been displayed here. Introduction to function, then we will be moving to understanding functions, invoking functions, Python function types, defining functions in Python, structure of a Python program, flow of execution in a function call, arguments and parameters, passing parameters, returning values from functions, returning multiple values, scope of a variable, name resolution, mutable immutable properties of passed data, and the last topic will be passing list, tuple, dictionary to function. So it is a very long chapter, and we will divide it into various videos, the learning lessons. So let's start with the introduction to function. So what is a function? Function is a subprogram that acts on data and often returns a value. Let me tell you one thing in the beginning of this lesson. Whenever we will talk about this function chapter, the main example you should keep in mind is of a calculator. You have seen a calculator. This calculator can be considered as a complete project, whereas its components like addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, square root, and many more there are. So these can be considered as its subparts. So we will take the example of that calculator whenever we want to understand about the functions. Okay. So a function is a subprogram, means a large program is called your project, is a large program. That project is a large program and the function is a subprogram. If calculator is a large program, that is your project, then the code for addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, etc. and etc., those units will be called functions. Okay. So a function is a subprogram. It is a small program that acts on data. It works on some data and often returns a value. That means it may or may not return something back. Okay. Large programs are generally avoided because it is difficult to manage a single list of instructions. So if you write the project for the calculator and you write the program for addition, then followed by subtraction, then division, then multiplication, then square root, then cube root, then square, and so on, one by one in the same program, so it will be difficult to manage that. Okay, you will not be able to identify which portion is dealing with which type of function, which type of operation. So it is better to make them separate units. Okay. So a large program is broken into smaller units and those smaller units are called function. So consider a project of calculator in which all the programming code is written one after another as a single program. Okay, and consider another same project of calculator in which addition has been coded in a separate unit, multiplication has been coded in a separate unit, and square root has been coded in separate unit, logarithm has coded in separate unit. So that program will look much better and it will be easy to identify any errors, or it will be easy to debug any errors, and it will be easy to manage it. If you want to add something, some extra functionality, you can just add on that particular module. But in the previous one, where all the code lines are one after another, it will first you will have to take pain to identify where you have to put that line. You will have to go through all the program, then you will find out that this number is this is the line number in which you have to put that extra thing. Okay, so it will be difficult. Okay, next, a function is a named unit of group of program statements. So these are the different definitions that you can give to a function. So function is a unit of program statements and we name it and we give a name to it. Suppose we have 10 statements, then we give it a name called multiplication. So that program code will be known as multiplication function. So it is a subprogram and it is a unit of program statements that has a particular name. We cannot give same name to two functions. Okay, they should have separate names. Okay, so this function unit, that unit that you have made, the separate unit that have been made by you, it can be called from other parts of the program. This is the beauty of function. You can call it from anywhere. Okay, so this is the benefit. So if it is a if you have made a separate unit of addition, you can call it from anywhere. If you can call it from the first line of the program or from the last line of the program. So it is available for you. Using functions make program handling easier as only a small part of program is dealt with a time. Okay, so you have to deal with a small code of program at a time. Suppose you are coding this calculator program, and you are working on, first you will work on addition module, addition function, then you will work on subtraction, then you will work on multiplication. So you will have small code to work on. You will just be concentrating yourself on the multiplication or addition, or so you will not consider of the whole project at one go. You will be considering only that particular code, that is for multiplication or addition or subtraction that you have chosen. Okay, so this is the beauty. So you have to concentrate yourself on a lesser number of lines, so it will be easy for you to concentrate on those lines, or to identify those errors, or to you can modify those. But if you have to consider 1000 lines as one unit, then it will be difficult for you. It will take time. Okay. So use of functions also reduces program size. Suppose you have to perform addition 3 times. So what will be the older approach? You write the code 3 times, one after another. Okay. So if one programming code of addition takes 10 lines, so your program will take 30 lines. Okay. But while using functions, what you will do is you will just make a separate unit of addition having 10 lines of code, and you will call it 3 times. So the call statement is of just one line. So how many lines you have used? You have used only 10 lines of code and 3 lines of calling. So it is 13 lines. So 30 compared to 13. So the function reduces the program size. Okay. Next, functions make program more readable and understandable. So if you can consider a program written one program code written one line after another and 1000 lines, and the same calculator program written in functions, using functions, you can see the separate code for addition, you can see the separate code for multiplication, separate code for addition, and so on. So it will be more understandable for you, and it will look better. So it will be more readable and understandable. Okay. And the next use is functions also promote code reusability. Means if you have designed this program for simple calculator using functions, and you are to develop a new project for scientific calculator, but you know that the logic of addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, logarithm, and all these remain same. So what you will do is you will just copy those modules of addition, subtraction, multiplication that you have made in simple program, simple calculator project, and you will just paste them on the new project. So that code has been reused. So this is called code reusability. Again, using the same code. Okay. So for let us take an example. So you have seen the ATMs of different banks. The base code, that is the main program, is mostly same. Only difference is some UI is changed, that is user interface. Some additional functionality has been added. So the company that has made the software for ATMs is reusing its code for all the banks. So this enhances the code reusability and minimizes the development time. Okay, if you have a new bank approaching you to develop his ATM software, you will just need a few days or a few weeks to develop ATM software for that bank, because your code is ready. But just you have to do, you have to just change the name of the bank, some color schemes as per his requirement, and some additional facility he requires you can add it, and you will just pack it in a new wrapper and you will hand it over to the new bank. So you will be reusing your code. The code that you have built for one bank, the same will be used for other banks. And it is because only of functions, because that code has been tested by that bank, so it can be used again by all the banks just by changing the simple UI. Okay, this is another example you can take of the Android. Android is an open source operating system by Google. So all the companies that are using Android, the code is same, but what they are doing is just they are changing the UI. If you are using a Samsung phone, you will have a different UI. If you are using a Nokia phone, you will be having a different feel of software. So the feel a bit is changed, but the base code remains same. So it is due to the functions that we promote code reusability. Okay, so this portion, the first portion was the definition of function and the use of function, why we require function, why it is better to write a program using functions rather than using writing code lines one by one, one after another. Okay, so the first 4 points discussed here are the definitions of function, and the others are the uses or the requirement or the need of function, why we require function. Okay, so I am again telling you that function is the backbone of a program. It gives it a foundation stone. If your functions are working correctly, then the program will look good. Okay, if you are not using the concept of function, then you will be at trouble sometime in the future when you will deliver that software to the user and you will have to change something, then it will take a lot of time. Okay, it might take more than the time that is that you have taken to develop that program to add something extra. Okay, so it is better to use function approach. What will happen if you are using function approach? If the user reports that there is an error in addition module, if you have made a project for calculator and the user says that there is some problem in addition module, so what you will have to do, you will just concentrate on that addition module. You will not be worried about all the remaining 10, 20, 30 functions that are used in this project. You will just concentrate yourself on that addition module only. But if you had used the previous approach of writing one after another, one code line after another, then you will first identify the area where that addition code is. Then you will check whether it is affecting any other functions also or not. So it will take a lot of time. Okay, so functions are easy to code, and the program that is made by functions is easy to maintain also. If you have to add something, you can do it. If you have to rectify something, you can do it easily. Okay, so this approach is better. In class 11th, you have made several programs, but the same programs you will be making in this chapter also with the use of functions, and you will see how good is to use function, how effective is the use of functions is. Okay, so let's move forward to the second point. So in the second point, we will understand the function, its structure, how we will develop or write a function. Okay, so I am starting with a simple function definition in Python. You can see that I have written the same function in two methods. If you see the line DEF, that is short form for definition, it indicates that we are starting a function definition. Then it is followed by a name called square. Then in the parenthesis we have provided a variable named x. Then we have put colon sign, and after colon sign we have pressed enter. Then we have given a bit of space. This space is mostly 4 spaces. Okay, this is called indentation, that is the gapping, it is called indentation. Then we have a variable called sq is equal to x into x, and in the next line we have written a statement called return the value of sq. The same function has been written in a different manner. Def, that is definition of square function, that is having a variable x colon in the next line with indentation, that is actually 4 spaces, we have written print x into x. So these are the two different definitions of the same function. Okay, so we will see how a function is written. You will see this function definition starts with the keyword def. So def is a keyword. You know the keywords in Python. If you are not remembering, please visit the playlist of class 11th. You will find the video lesson on these identifiers and keywords. Okay. Second thing, the name of the function follows the def keyword. So after the def keyword, the name that is written will be the name given to that function. So every entity requires a name. Similarly, the function also requires a name. And the rules of naming will be same. Okay, I have told you the same thing in SQL while we were discussing SQL, that the name rules, the rules for naming will remain the same that we have discussed in class 11th. The same rules will be followed. The third thing is the arguments or parameters are passed within parentheses. So the brackets, that the parentheses or round brackets, that they contain the values that we will work on. Okay, so function requires something to work on. Suppose you have an addition function. So what you will add? You will add two numbers. So those two numbers you have to pass it to it. Okay, so you pass something to it, then it will give you something back. Suppose you have a juice machine, then you will put some fruits in it and will press the button and then you will get the juice. If you do not put anything in it, how you will get a juice? So those things that you will give as input should be given in brackets. Okay, so those are called arguments or parameters that are given in parentheses. Next, there will be a colon sign at the end of the def line. Okay, it symbolizes that we have completed our header. So this line, the first line, is called, this line def square x, this line is called function header. Okay, this line. And when we come to an end of the function header, we put a colon sign. So this colon sign indicates the end of the function header. Okay, and it also denotes the beginning of a block. That it means that after this colon sign there will be some block. This is called block. The code lines with same indentation level, you can see they are at the same indentation level, are called block. So these two statements are making a block of statement. Similarly, this single statement is also a block. Okay, so this is a block, and the block is initiated after this colon sign. So after this colon sign, you press enter and it will create a new block. Okay, let's go to the next statement. The statements indented below the function define the working of the function. So these lines, single line here and these two lines here, are the body of the function. This will tell you what this function is doing. Okay, so this is called the body. These two lines here and the single line there is the body of the function. Okay, it defines what the function will do. So this block is called body of the function. And if you want to return something, if you remember that we have studied in this lesson, in the beginning of the lesson, that it may return some value. The function may return some value. So if you have to return a value, you will use this return statement. Okay, this return statement followed by which value you want to return. And we also studied that it may return. Okay, it may or may not. So here we are not returning any value. You can see there is no return statement. We have just printed this square of x here only. And in this function, we have returned the square of x back to where from where this function was called. Okay, so it will give that value back to the caller who has called this function. But here we will write the value of x into x on the screen just, and this will be okay. So you can understand the difference. If you want to return something, then you will use return keyword followed by the value you want to return. Otherwise you will not use any return keyword. Okay, so this is how the function is written. Okay, so it will contain a def keyword, it will contain a name for it using the same naming conventions of Python that we have studied in class 11th. Okay, then it may or may not have some arguments that it will work on. So it may require some values to work on, or it may not require some values to work on. So the parenthesis may be empty, or it can have some one or more than one values. If it is having more than one values, then it should separate them with comma. Okay, if there are three values a, b and c, then you will write a comma b comma c in the parenthesis. Clear? So then it will have a colon sign to mark the end of function header and mark the beginning of block. So when you will press enter, you have to move 4 steps, 4 spaces, and then you will write the body of the function. This will be the body of the function. So the body of the function will be at the same indentation level. This is containing 2 statements. So both the statements will be having same spaces, same number of spaces. Okay, so this is the main rule of Python. If you write the correct indentation level, then it is okay. If you give an extra space to this, okay, so it will consider it as separate block. So please keep it in mind that the statements in a block are at same indentation level. If you just put an extra space to a statement, it will be considered as a separate block. Okay, so this thing you have to keep in mind always when you are working with Python. So now we are moving to the third point, that is calling a function or invoking a function. And invoking means the process through which you call that function, through the process through which you use that function. Okay, for example, you have to add 2 numbers, then you have to press that plus button. If you have to get the square root, then you have to press the square root button in your calculator. Similarly, if you have to make that your tube light on, then you have to press a particular button. So that is called invoking something. So the function for addition has to be invoked or has to be called through a particular process or that particular button that is given in the calculator. So this process is called calling a function or invoking a function. That means you have made a separate module for addition, subtraction, multiplication and many more, but you need a statement or a button or a particular entity through which you will be able to use that thing. So if you have installed LED lights, tube lights and many others in your home, but you have not made any switches for them, so how you will use it? So they cannot be used. Similarly, if you have made different functions in your program, you require a functionality to use them, and that statement is called function call. Okay, so after defining a function, we have to call the function so that we can use its functionality. Okay, so we can use it. If we have to use a heater or a blower, then we have to put in the socket into the plug into a socket, then put it on. So if there is no wire coming out of it, no buttons, so how you will use it? So we require some functionality to use it. So to call the function, what we require is the name of the function, okay, the name that we have decided, and the values it will work on. If it requires some values, then you will provide those values. If it is not requiring any value, you will just put the name only, and followed by the brackets. Please keep it in mind that every function is identified by the parenthesis. If a name is followed by a parenthesis, opening and closing, then it means that it is a function. Okay. So depending upon the function definition, functions can be divided into two types. There are two types of functions depending on their function definition. A function that returns some value. If your function is returning some value, then it will be treated differently, and if it is not returning any value, then it will be treated differently. Okay. Now, if the function is returning some value, okay, if the function is returning some value, then you will have to cache that value. Okay. If suppose the condition, you and your friend are standing, if your friend is throwing something towards you, then you will automatically start catching it. No? Similarly, when the function definition is returning something back to the program, then the program must catch it or take it somewhere. Okay, so that return value should be taken somewhere. Somewhere means either it can be taken in a variable or it can be taken towards the screen. That is your standard output. Am I clear? I am again iterating that if you are standing with your friend, and if you are playing a game of cricket, and your friend throws a ball towards you, then you automatically start to catch that ball. Okay, you might drop it, but you start catching that ball. Okay, you go towards catching it. Similarly, when a function definition is returning something, so it should be cached. It can be cached in a variable, and it can be printed directly to the screen. How to decide which type to use? It's a simple rule. If you require that returned value, the value that is thrown from the function definition, if you require that value further in your program somewhere, then you should save it in a variable. And if you do not require it, it is just for printing, then just use the print function and it will be printed in the screen. Okay, the thing should be clear to you. If the program is returning something, then you should catch it in a variable or you should direct it to the screen. So how to catch in a variable? You should give the name of the variable in which you want to hold that value. Then you will put equal to, because this equal to operator will copy this value to this variable, and after that you will call the function. How? You will just write the name of the function and you will start the parenthesis, then you will name the argument. It can be 1, 2 or 3, so you will put comma if you require. So function name, brackets, the name of the values that it will work on. So after working on that values, this function will return the value. If it is returning, then that value will be stored in this variable. Okay, am I clear? So this function that has been defined earlier in a separate unit, it will work on these values that are provided in the brackets, and after working it will return the result in, after working this it will return the result, and that result will be stored in this variable at the left hand side of equal to. Or if you do not want to store that value, you can just use print function, print bracket the name of the function and in the brackets arguments. It will print the value on the screen. So that print function will take that return value from it and it will print it on the screen. So this is the thing that we have discussed. If you require that value somewhere in your program in future, you store it in a variable. If you do not require it, just print it on the screen. Okay. Next, for the functions that do not return any value, they are not returning any value, why you will catch it? You will just remain as it is. Okay. So how to call the functions that are not returning any value? You will just name that function and put a bracket and give the name of parameters, just like here. Same thing. The difference between the two is of this equal to sign and this variable or the print sign, because this function will not give you anything back. So you are not worried about anything coming back. So you can just rest and call that function. It will do whatever it is intended to do. Okay. So in the previous example, we had made two functions. One was returning some value and another was not returning any value. Okay. So the first thing that was returning a value will be called like this. N is equal to square, the name of the function, and in brackets we have provided the value 25. So it will generate the square of 25 and will return the value, and that value will be stored in this variable n. And in the second type, we have just called square 25 and the function will not return any value and the answer will be just printed on the screen. Okay. So this is the difference between the two different function definitions. One is returning something, another is not returning. So this is the difference in calling it. So you call it differently. So you call a function, suppose you are calling your friend, and if that friend of yours has to return you something, it will throw that thing to you and you will catch it. Okay. And if you are calling your friend and he is not supposed to give you anything, if you are just calling him for a sign that I have returned from market, he will just say okay, please go ahead. Okay. So this is the difference. And some functions are there, we have already discussed, that may not require any value to work on. Okay. So those are called, those functions will be called without any value. How will they be called? They will just be called by name of the function and followed by empty parenthesis, because they do not require anything. They have everything inside them. So they will be called just by the name of that function and followed by empty parenthesis. Okay. So in this lesson we have discussed these three things: introduction to function, and then we have discussed the function definition, how it will look like, and then how to call the functions. Okay. So I think both these 3 points are clear to you, and with the distribution of this unit number 1 that we have discussed. So in the next video we will be discussing the functions, how to write the functions and other functionalities. Okay. So I request you to go through this video as per your speed. You might go slow in the beginning, and please see the complete video and you will be able to understand the basics of functions in Python. Okay. So we will be meeting in the next video.